Alright, so I'm going to quickly show you how to put these doors together. This is what the new, sort of the most recent version of the prototype for the 3x3 Zombicide door. This is the standard, this is the most common wall piece. It has a door, and you can, when you player decides to close the doors, they can slide these door inserts in, and they kind of like close like a little lock. So we start off with this top piece. This one's printed on my Ender 3, and the quality level on this is quite good. It takes about twice as long to print this, though, as with the normal standard settings, because I'm using the Fat Dragon Games profile for this. And it comes with these little pins on the bottom, and they just kind of pop off in your fingers. You can go if you have really good print settings, these come off really easy. In this case, they're nice and easy to get out, and they come out and they're nice and clean. And what we end up with is these nice clean edges under here like this, and they connect to these base pieces. And there's a quick discussion about prototyping. Part of the process of prototyping is to figure out what works and doesn't, and iterate on that, fast iterations. So this is the first version of the base, and there's some give in there. And I can get that to kind of line up, but I think I'd like that to be tighter, the tolerances to be tighter. And then this is the second version. And what I did is I basically just increased the size of these pins here. And it fits together. This is really snug. This is really good. But it doesn't hold. And I actually wanted to press fit, so I increased the tolerance by another 0.2 or 0.3 millimeters here, I think. And now, if you line these pins up at the back, it just clicks into place. You kind of hear the plastic kind of grab itself, and that's pretty solid. You put two spherical magnets here. You can put two spherical magnets here, or you can use smaller ones if you want to use the cheaper ones. And then when you put your magnets in, that clips on top, and that's done. And then that's ready to connect to other pieces. The next thing you can do is you're going to add these top bits. So you can see here on this piece, these little black pieces, and you drop your magnets in these holes, so you can put 5mm spherical magnets or smaller magnets, little smaller cylinder magnets. Put the top on, click it into place, and you're good. Then once you have that set up, you can put these little red lights in the top, and you print these off on a little card like this, and you just clip them off the set of clippers, and you leave the little nubs, these little nubs on the bottom here. And those go into, well, we'll put them into this one here, since it's ready to go. And you can just use the little nubs to kind of drop them in. They don't press fit, and I'm going to change the tolerances on those so that they do. I want those to press fit. But what I'll do is just add a little drop of super glue, just a tiny, tiny touch, because I just want enough that it'll grab those pieces so they won't fall off, because they're not in any way a load-bearing piece or a contact piece, so they won't pop off once the super glue's in here. Just drop that pin in, use it to line it up. Careful about getting glue on your fingers. So I just use a little tiny droplet of glue, touch them in, and you're good to go. Now we also have these cavities that are here as well too. And we can fill those, and we've got some pieces to fill them. And these little gribblies here, these little inserts, they drop in, and they just press fit in like that. Now that will stay in, but I can probably... this one is going to stay in okay, but I could pull them out and change them. So I like to put a little dab of super glue in there, just seal them in. And then there's these little side bits that go in there as well. And, you know, we've done a bunch of different gribblies. That one's a little bit looser, so it needs a little bit of glue to kind of hold it in place. And that's the that'll kind of press that'll press right into there. And this way you can decide, you know, do I want like these door mechanisms? Do I want, you know, you can mix and match. We'll give you a whole variety of them, and you can decide which ones you want to put on which ones and have some variety. It's up to you. So you print these separate. You just print them flat on their back. And then the last thing that we do is we have a door, and the door gets printed off vertically, and it has a cavity inside. And what I do is I just take a little bit of this is from a plastic soda bottle, and you can go out and go find the crazy color plastic that you like, and cut it to a little square shape, and you just drop it into there, like that, and then that goes in there, and now you have a little glass lens. You know, you can get some like crazy Mountain Dew Code Red or whatever you want to, like really cool sort of super neon colors. And then this little bit here, it just slides in there, and that actually is going in under, it's press fitting under its own pressure. See if I can just push it all the way in here. There we go. So I wouldn't even need glue. I will actually probably will never be able to get that out if I wanted to. this one might make these a little bit smaller, just so that they're, and then put a dab of glue on the end of it, and then you're good to go. Try not to get glue on the lens because it'll cloud up. And then it says danger. We have a little embossed text here that says danger, and you just take that and you use one of these markers, and actually a Sharpie would probably work just fine. I use one of these oil markers, and I just go in and I very carefully draw it over the top of the letters, and it's easy to do because you have the raised letters as guide, little arrows, and then then you're ready to drop it into your piece. Boom. This is danger, so your dudes know to like watch their heads, because the doors are a big part of Zombicide Invader, big part of the way that you play the game. So you have a lot of these walls, but you only have a few doors because the doors are a scarce commodity in the game. So that's basically how these pieces go together. Now I've decided to print these in gray, black. I put a little bit of gold, and I put a little bit of gold marker on these bits here. It's a trick I learned from some of the guys who do Imperial Knights for Warhammer 40,000. They use these gold markers to be able to paint all the trim. These are really fine when they go in, because they find it's a little bit easier than painting with a brush, and because everything flows. So if I want to paint these bits in gold, I just grab them, and I can just very quickly, because the parts are raised up, I can just very quickly hit these raised parts, and I can stop there, but I can also put a little bevel, or I go around the bevel like this, and now I have something that kind of stands out a little bit, and that took me like a few seconds to do, right? Like that's not a highly difficult thing to do or super skilled thing to do. And then I just throw them in here, and then it gives a little bit of detail. So I find the gold with the black, I could hit these pipes and these vents as well too if I want, but you want to be very careful not to have too much visual detail, because otherwise it starts to clutter the piece up. You could use red markers too. Maybe these screens could be red. We could even make those so that they're separate and they press fit in, if that's something. Might try that out later on. Then here I have gray, I have black. If I did the doors in white, I think these doors would actually look pretty cool in white. I wouldn't do the doors in red because I want them to kind of work with a bunch of different rooms. And you don't want to try to mix too many colors. You want to find a level that when it's on the table, and you got your guys lined up in it, that it looks good, right? And you want the attention to be on your models. So using grays and whites and blacks, they're kind of all in the same family, so they create contrast without creating clashes. But if I start having, if I started having lots of red bits, it might start clashing with some of the blue bits. Here I might want blue. Maybe for these oxygen walls, I want to actually do blue lights. Maybe I actually want to do blue. I want to do the danger symbol in blue. So I'm going to kind of experiment with that, and the idea there is to try to keep the red bits red, the blue bits blue. Try not to mix red and blue in the same room if it's possible. I definitely would want to start introducing green, because if you got red and green, you get Christmas. Blue and green might actually work well together. Those two colors might go well together. So you got to kind of pick your choices with your colors. For now, I think I'm going to try some white doors. And maybe some, we'll see what we're going to do here. Might be nice to do these panels in black and then use a white oil pen to bring the raised out letters. That might look really nice. These pens are a really good trick. The Gundam guys use these pens a lot. The only thing you got to be careful about is that sometimes this the different PLA will react to it. This PLA, I'll show you on this test piece, it has a tendency to bleed. So if I start to color in these little vents here, let's see how that goes. But you won't be able to see it there, but I can see it starting to bleed a little bit into the other pieces. So that's not ideal. So you gotta be careful with that. A Sharpie might work a little bit better for that, but this gray PLA tends to want to bleed like that. So you just gotta kind of pick your battles. But I think a white one would probably, a white oil pen would probably work okay. We'll have to see. It's hard to get those things. You can't just run out to the store and buy them because we're in quarantine. We're living our own zombie apocalypse right now. So yeah, that's quickly how you put them all together. This one has the panels on the back, I think the newer version, yeah, this is the latest version. It doesn't have little holes in the side here because these little hexagons, they kind of get gummed up and they don't necessarily print very well. So I just wanted to make it a little bit cleaner. And they have cavities in the back, so the big gribblies that go in the back for here too, if you want. Leaning more towards this style here, which would have a piece that would fit exactly inside that. So you don't need to fiddle around with it, just pop it in with a bit of glue. And I like that better because I think that just gives some detail onto the back, but it's more like shape. It defines the shape form more, not just like noise. So anyway, that's where we're at with it. So you know, these are the sort of the core base pieces. You know, these are this is the backbone with the doors. This is the backbone with the doors. This is what Zombicide Invader is kind of built around. So that's the core piece, and we're pretty close to, I think, what would be a final production piece. We'll start getting some people to test print these and see what the tolerances are like for folks. And yeah, we'll see where we kind of go from there. All right, take it easy.